Hi, I'm Suze Yalof Schwartz, and you're watching Curated Insights with Seth Deckman.
Welcome, Suze Yalof Schwartz,
Thank you, Seth.
CEO and founder of Unplug. It's so great to have you back with us on our podcast.
Thank you, Seth. I'm so excited to be here, and it's always great to talk to you.
Likewise, Suze. It's been a while. It's been too long, frankly. I started my day off with 10-minute meditation on the Unplug app.
Mm-hmm.
And, my confession is that it's really hard for me to do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
As easy as it is, and is 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I'm trying to practice guitar. I'm playing piano with my children. It's like we're all pulled in so many different directions. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, when I do it, it is such a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning I listened to John. It was a 10-minute session on being present. And, it took me some time to get in there, but that gong really woke me up.
Right. John Sahakian, he's brilliant.
Yeah. And I love the fact I can just log in with my Apple ID.
Mm-hmm.
So, somebody like me, I don't want extra steps. I don't need another thing to touch, or I can just look at the phone and I'm in there.
Mm-hmm.
But, we have Mental Health Awareness Month coming up, Suze, and I know firsthand the benefits of not only the app, but the work that you do in your studio and that you do with corporate groups. Share with us kind of what you're seeing currently and how that's playing out with the work that you're doing.
Well, I think there's a need right now for mental health mastery. Not just to be aware that we're all suffering, because with the pandemic and with all the challenges that are happening around us, there's a lot that we could be aware of. But this really helps us kind of figure out, okay, how can I master my own mental health? And I've been talking to companies a lot about that, and not just giving them strategies, but teaching them techniques so that they can execute their best self.
Sure.
How do you become your best self? You were talking to me before, Seth, about how you were finding it hard to fit all of these things that you know are good for you. But sometimes we need to just take a break, stop, and ask ourselves, what is working and what is not working? What should we put on the to-do list and what should we put on the stop doing list?
Yeah, right.
And then look at your days as, we have long days if we really use them properly, if we don't waste them scrolling and waste them looking at other people's social media posts. So imagine you could control your day. What would you do? So what we suggest for mental health mastery is to wake up. And the first thing you do before you even get out of bed, Seth, is you click the meditation of the day or the challenge, day one. It's always 10 minutes and under. You click the button. You can even lay back down in your bed and do that 10-minute meditation. Okay. So let's say you get that down. We know that movement is also important.
Right.
So then going from there with your feet on the ground, before you eat, before you do anything, having a mat that you set out the night before and doing 10 to 15 minutes of exercise before you do anything else. So that's 25 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes of meditation, 15 minutes of exercise, and then make the choice to eat something healthy. So then you eat something healthy. Then you have a morning win, right?
Right.
You meditated, you worked out, and you ate something healthy. And it's probably 7 o'clock at this point, right? Depends what time you wake up.
Right.
Imagine just starting the day like that.
I'm moved just by those three things, and I've done those, right? I mean, one of the three, two of the three, but when I do hit that triple, the 3 out of the 3, it really is a full, I'm now thinking that's when I do feel the mastery.
Right. It's when you feel your best self. So the question is, what are the things that we do that give us energy, that make us feel good, and that actually make us perform better in life? And that's kind of how I've been optimizing my own days lately. And that's just before 7 o'clock.
Right.
So I can continue on and tell you the rest of the areas that I think will help with other people's mental health.
And I do want to hear that. First of all, just to recap, I love that term mental health mastery because it gives it a frame or really a context as a mindset and
Mhm,
a way of being as opposed to something to do or somewhere to get to.
mhm,
Because what I've learned from, utilizing the Unplug app and, other practices is there is nowhere to get to and there is nowhere to go. It's being here in the moment.
mhm,
And I want to talk a little bit about, you use the word optimize
mhm,
because people say we're in a good range, which some say on a scale of 1 to 10, if I'm a 6, if I'm operating on 6, 7, or 8, that's great, and that is great.
mhm,
And there's nothing wrong. But if the mindset is plugged into, or you're plugging yourself into the optimization mindset,
mhm.
it's a whole different vibration. It's a whole different mindset. Talk a little bit about that. And again, tying it into what you're seeing in real time. Like, I know you speak to groups frequently.
Mhm.
So the last few that you've spoken to, what are the common challenges? What are the common obstacles, the barriers people are dealing with? And what are you providing to make a difference there?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. The obstacles are we just don't wanna do it. We don't wanna do the things that are good for us. Like, who really wants to exercise in the morning? Who really wants to eat something healthy when there's a donut, in our view?
I like donuts.
Yes, who doesn't, right? So, what am I doing about it? Actually, I have to tell you, I met this woman who works with me. Her name is Camilla Sacred Dollar App. She's on the Unplug app, and she's our resident hypnotherapist. She's phenomenal. And I said, Camilla, I can't exercise. I can't seem to get myself to do it. I don't want to do it. I have no motivation. Help me.
But you
So
want you want the results.
I want the results. So I said, can you hypnotize me so that I actually not only do it, but that I want to and I mentally think that I like it? And she's like, absolutely. So she did a hypnotherapy session with me. And afterwards, there was a meditation that was 15 minutes long or a hypnosis session. I thought I was up for the entire time. I heard every single word. I wasn't quacking like a duck. I wasn't joining the cult. I was completely aware of every word that she said. The next morning, Seth, I woke up and I exercised. The next day after that, I woke up and I exercised. I've
Your
been doing
family
it.
must have been like, what is mom
I,
on is that she on
yeah.
something?
So I've been doing it for 3 months now. And about 2 months after 1 month of doing it every day, I said to her, okay, this is crazy. We need to do this for all of my problems: exercise, healthy eating, because I'm the one who wants the donut before the vegetable,
I
um,
understand.
productivity, because I'm highly distracted and I want to be more productive,
I think
movement.
I think we were twins.
We yeah, I think so too. Movement, because I could sit at my desk all day long and never even get up, and sleep because I wanna look at my phone up until the second I close my eyes.
Hmm.
Can you do that? And she said, "Yes." I'm like, "We should call it hypno habits."
Yeah.
And basically, we're launching hypno habits on the Unplug Meditation app on Wednesday. So
Oh
they're
my
gonna
God.
be 15-minute hypnosis sessions to help you close your eyes at night, open up your eyes in the morning, and hopefully do all those things you've been so challenged by.
Susie, sleep. That's a big one.
Mhm,
That's a big one in the modern world. That's a big one for me personally.
mhm,
And from my perspective, what I do in booking speakers for with meeting planners for all these conferences and events,
mhm.
that's a subject that's coming up with corporate groups.
Yeah, because
And
if you don't sleep, you don't perform well, and, LeBron James, Federer, do you know how many hours they sleep a night?
8, I'm guessing 10, 12.
Yes, 12 hours a night. Why? Because they need to perform at their best. There's
Yeah,
no way I'm sleeping for 12 hours a night. I'm lucky if I get 5, but it's time to prioritize sleep because if
right.
you don't prioritize the night before, the next day suffers. So that's
Yeah. And I think, I want you to speak to this. This is more of your expertise and your specialty. But again, I learned this from the speakers that I work with. But the restorative aspects of sleep,
Mhm,
particularly in the cognitive area and
mhm,
cognition, the reset, the onset of amyloids on the neurons, which is kind of like a plaque, which can really impact not only cognitive decline, but your macular degeneration, your sight. It can make it worse faster. I'm really fascinated that Unplug seems like you guys are on the forefront of it, bringing in something, not only the hypno piece of it, and you can correct me on the language I'm using, but a subject like sleep is really important. What other areas are you seeing that people are struggling with?
Well, sleep is key because people are thinking a lot about the day. And sometimes the stress of the day can creep into your sleep at night, which is why I also suggest meditating right before bed or right after work so
Hmm.
that you can almost clear the day and reset yourself before a great night's sleep. In fact, we have over 100 meditations on the Unplug app to help people sleep or to help people get back to sleep. And so we're really strong about that. But there are other things. I mean, it's not just sleep. And let's talk about reactivity because that's the
Hmm.
other thing that
Another big one.
another thing that we've been seeing. I don't want to date this, but it's hot in the news right now. People who are being very reactive without taking a pause.
Yes.
And the question is, how do you manage your own reactivity? Because let's face it, anybody who has kids knows what it's like to be reactive. They do
Yeah.
something and you're like, what the,
Yeah.
and I could say I'm better, but I can't say that I'm
Sure.
perfect at that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I can say I'm better at it is because I have trained my brain to be able to pause before I scorch the village, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you pause before you take it out on everyone around you or do something really stupid that you regret or make the colossal mistake that can ruin your entire career,
Yeah.
like we saw Will Smith do.
Right.
Imagine if he just did a 16-second meditation. This stinks. Can I deal with it later? Yes. Okay, great.
Yeah. And that, the reaction, I'm going to try to go a little bit deeper here, Susie.
Mhm,
The reaction I see, as you just said, it's also very strongly tied to the instant answer kind of vibe in the world.
mhm,
You get a WhatsApp, you get something on Instagram, Facebook, even emails, even somebody texts you, and it's like, how many of those really need,
mhm,
like, do they need the procedures to land a crashing plane? Okay, answer that one right away. But,
mhm,
I had it yesterday. I got an email at the very end of work. It reacted me so bad.
mhm.
And I'm not perfect at it, but I noticed my reaction and it was 0 to 10. I was at a 9.9. I was red,
Right.
but I didn't answer. I didn't even hit reply.
Mm,
I pushed back in my chair and I answered it this morning. And I'm telling you, I found a place of generosity
right.
and I completely transformed the reaction. And the other person wrote back and asked about my family and some upcoming personal stuff I was sharing about this summer and everything. And, my reaction was so unwarranted and so unjustified,
Right.
So, what do you say to people, to our listeners and viewers about, okay, that's great, Seth, good for you, and
Mhm,
Susie, you're not burning the village. These are words, Susie, but it takes awareness.
right.
And then it takes the awareness to slow down, take that 16 seconds or whatever mechanism works for you. But right before that, how do you develop that awareness? How do you, people want to know what do I do? You
Right, right.
know?
Well, I truly believe that this practice helps you develop that awareness. But the app that we have actually has the tools that you can grab in your pocket. So, like for me, before I have a meeting, I press the before the meeting meditation.
Ah,
Before I have a
beautiful.
difficult conversation, I press the before a difficult conversation meditation. And I notice that it comes out so much better
Mm,
than if I didn't do that before. So I have my own protocol and I have my own tools in my toolbox that I use. These don't always come naturally because naturally our instinct is to just, fight or flight, respond,
right.
act.
Right.
But this ability of meditation gives you that space between.
Hmm.
It helps
Yep.
you access you're not gonna stay there all the time. I mean, you're not gonna be unflooded. You're gonna be a little bit kinder, maybe a little bit less angry, maybe a little bit more present. But I believe having these protocols set up in place, your morning protocol, your work protocol, your post-work protocol, and your evening protocol Once you notice those things and you create your own algorithm of this is the data that works for me and this is the data that does not. And then you start bringing that into your life, you notice the outcome, just like a computer, is much better.
Yeah. I mean, these are hard things. Sleep, reaction, reactive, these are hard things. But I notice that I make the slightest difference in what I would judge as the correct direction for me, at least, where I
Mhm.
either slow down, I'm not hitting reply right away.
Right.
One of my children says something and I'm just like not burning the village. And even that pause, which might be a 1% difference from reacting,
Right.
has like 100% positive impact
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I'm just, it's like the little slight alteration or recalibration makes that huge difference.
Right. I think there's a power in the pause.
Yeah, there is a power in the pause. I had it last night at dinner. I'm sure you've had it in the last 24 hours with your family, and I'm sure work, and there's no scarcity of opportunities to be reacted.
Yes. Yes.
So what else are you running into?
Well, it's interesting because we're working with schools right now, which has been really interesting. There's a lot of teachers that are going back to work, and classrooms are now mask free, and people are used to working from home. So the kid teacher relationship, that's been a challenging thing. And we're helping teachers and schools and companies. And mostly just kind of the big launch is the hypno habits right now.
Hmm. Right. And when you notice people coming back from the workplace or parents bringing children back to the school, the litany of benefits of meditation, of mindfulness, of, the practice in general of being self-aware, knowing when to take a pause,
Mhm.
use the 16-second, whatever mechanism, plug into the, before a difficult conversation piece of your app, working from home and going back to the office, the kids going back into the school. What
Mhm.
are you seeing that's the challenge there?
Social anxiety.
Mm,
So people are feeling, I mean, some people don't even want to take off the mask even when they can and they know it's safe because they want to hide behind it now. So I feel like people are having harder times actually looking people in the eye and talking to them and connecting with them and remembering that not everything is available on Google, that there is a meaning. One of the things that's really good for your health is community and connection. So making that time to actually cultivate friendships and cultivate relationships and cultivate meaning into your own life, that's something that is challenging for a lot of people.
yeah.
So there is a lot of social anxiety out there.
Yeah. And the social anxiety, I mean, even pre-COVID,
Mhm.
fomenting, developing, building community, expanding your community for many who are either introverts or what are known as ambiverts, intro and extro, but they play both sides of the
Right,
coin,
right.
was already hard. And then layer on top of it the current environment of all the elements that react us, whether it's pandemic, the economy, going back to school, in the classroom, the mask mandate being changed. It's all fuel for that social anxiety,
Yeah.
which brings us back to mental health mastery,
Yes.
because it doesn't have to be a one-way street. Oh, I'm anxious, I'm just going to let that be the fuel for the day, right?
Right. And
Wh-
there's a quick, easy solve for that. And that is to go from anxiety, depression to gratitude. Because it's really hard to be grateful and sad at the same time.
yeah.
So it's just one of those things where when you notice you're feeling X, what are your tools? What are your protocol? So when I'm sad, I'm going to think about what I'm grateful for right now in this moment. Being able to hang out with you, Seth, being able to share, the Unplug app with people so that they can help themselves.
Yeah.
Being able to spend time with my family, with my friends, and just chill and
Yeah.
talk about nothing and just
Yeah.
good food. Those are things that, like, are the things that matter, and actually asking yourself, "What actually are the things that matter?"
Yeah.
I heard a great thing. I'm taking this course right now that I absolutely love called Optimize with Brian Johnson. It's a coaching class, and I'm just taking it for myself. but I'm
Sure.
finding it really fascinating. And he said that we all can define ourselves by one sentence, like, who are you and what are you doing? What is your mission, so to speak? And I really
Hmm.
love that. If you think about what your mission is in life, it's not to sit and look at how everybody else are living their mission.
Right. Well,
So what's your
that
mission, Seth? What is your
well,
mission with all this?
you're putting me on the spot, and I don't know
Cool.
if I can do it
What's
in
it?
one. It might be a run-on sentence. I don't know if it'll be grammatically, precise, but my mission is to be a vehicle or a pathway for people to transform.
That's good.
And, it's shown up in many ways. I was a high school teacher for 6 years. I was a basketball coach, which was very marked my life in a very strong way. And those two domains or realms of activity were where I was a squire, somebody accompanying, whether it was youth or even colleagues, contemporaries, to be a vehicle for transformation.
Mm,
And I'm not saying that I'm the one at the cause of. I could be accompanying them. I could be in the same space of something not working, and we've transformed something together to make
mm,
it operate in a way that works for everybody. In my business now, with the speakers I work with my clients, with my freelance team, I try to, always look for what I can provide for them. What do they need? What's making a difference? What's missing?
mhm,
Um, so that I could go on and on, Susie. My basketball company where I traveled all over the world, we took children who were student athletes that maybe never left their state or their region, and we took them to Europe to play and compete. And it was a vehicle for transformation. So, what's yours?
I could sum yours up then. You wanna hear what I would say yours was?
I
It's
I do.
Seth, I think what you do is you shine a light on people, and you really help not only shine the light, but then you help them shine. That's how I see you.
I take that. That's better language than I could have said it. Mine was a little bit more clinical.
Well, there you got to it, but
Yeah.
that's how I see you, and it's really true, you really do. I love watching your LinkedIn videos. I love
Thank you.
listening to the different speakers share their wisdom. I think you really get the best out of people, and you help shine a great light on them, so I
Well,
appreciate
thank you. Now,
that.
what's yours?
Well, that's a question I have for you. What is mine, Seth? What would
Well,
you say how
Susie,
would you describe me if I was dead? That's how you're supposed to think
um,
about it.
oh, well, I'll
I'm
listen.
alive,
How
so
would
you
I
can tell
describe
me.
you? And you're still alive, so
Well,
we're
you're
not going
at
to
my
go there.
funeral, and
Okay.
someone says, "What was she like?" You have one sentence.
So I'm just going to try to find it. I'm going to riff a little bit. I see fully self-expressed, and the celebration is there for me. So it's the celebration of what's possible in people.
Mm.
And I know your whole history from nursery school to this very second. So and maybe even before nursery school. And the journey, you're always seeking, you're always learning, you're always looking to expand your capacities and your abilities. But to have that, you make people the best that they can be. That's
Wow,
what I would say. Now, I
thank
don't
you.
know I don't
I'm
know if
glad
that
I'm still
resonates for
alive.
you.
That was great.
It's got to speak to you, but
Well,
that's how I would synthesize it.
what I love about this exercise is it helps people think about themselves. Whoever's watching this should ask yourself, okay, if I had to sum up myself in one sentence, why am I here? Or what is my mission? Or what am I doing? Who am I? These are all the questions that people forget to ask about themselves because they're too busy on the internet, they're too busy on their phones, and they're too busy living externally.
Right? Counting likes.
Yeah, who cares? It's time to go inside
Yeah.
so that you can be who you want to be on the outside.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really powerful. But to get there, Susie, and again, I don't want to turn this into unplug app, but
yeah,
you, you,
there's a meditation for that.
right. But really, really, because the distinction is it's beyond unplug. It's the work.
Mhm,
And again, it's not a destination, it's an ongoing process.
mhm.
And there's layer after layer and deeper and higher and more forward and more forward and more forward. And that's what begins to define us, the process and the path, as opposed to the destination or what the accomplishment is.
Mhm.
So to get to the answer of your question is, why are you here? What's your mission? That also can evolve over time and
Yeah.
recalibrate itself. And,
Mhm.
if you asked me that 20 years ago, I probably would have, said, whoa, 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 I have no idea. Right. What do
Right.
you mean? What's my mission? Who am
Exactly.
I? I'm Seth. And it could change in 5, 10 years from now, or it could have more profound connection.
Mm.
But to get there, the sleep, the mastery over reacting, having awareness of your anxiety, all this mental health mastery is what it takes to be in touch with what your mission is.
Mhm. And
And
yeah, someone once said to me, "Oh, people should just be happy with who they are in this present moment." I agree, but I truly believe that we all could be a little bit better than we already are, and we
yeah,
know it. And we know it. I've never met anyone who thought that they were, at 100%.
right.
And
Well, yeah.
and
I,
we
yeah,
yeah, we all want to be 100% of the best version of ourselves.
yeah.
So the
You're
question is,
preaching to the preacher. Go ahead. What is the question?
how can we get there? How can we be 100% best version of ourselves? Well, I think the easiest way is to kind of look at yourself and write down a list of what's working, what's not working, what you want more of, what you want less of, and then start to incorporate that into your daily life and lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think that that's a great point to kind of finish on. And I just want to take one thing you said right there. It's like, what's not working? I know when I talk to speakers, when I talk to clients, and they say, well, we're looking for this because this isn't working. And people hear like there's something wrong, it's not working, or something's broken. And I offer always with either the speaker, whether they're prepping for an event, or the client that's looking for something, I say, well, look, you're not looking for a band aid and you're not looking for a mechanic
Mm,
to open up the hood and fix the carburetor. If there was something that was missing in
mm,
the area that's not working, whether it's patience, love, non reaction, taking the pause, if there was something that was missing in the way of being that were there that isn't present now, that would make a difference, then that might move over into the area of your life that's working.
mhm,
And so I agree with you. You're preaching to the preacher. Be happy with who you are, but you get to say who you are. And if you
mhm.
say who you are and you're being honest, like you say, how high is high? The largest room in the house is room for improvement. So
The largest is room for I never heard that before, but I wanna let that land because that's good.
yeah,
Largest room in the
take
house.
it and run with it. In fact, weave it
Where
right
did you
into
get
the.
that, Seth? Where is that from? That's brilliant.
I've heard it a million times.
The
Um,
largest room
I've tried to translate it into French, Portuguese, and Spanish, and it doesn't work. But it's
the
too much of a play
largest
on words.
room in the house is room for improvement. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
Okay.
The largest
That's
room in the house is room for improvement, which I think you should take. And there's no stealing, there's borrowing, there's taking it with you, and weave it into the mental health mastery,
yes, yes.
because that's part of being kind to yourself, being patient with yourself, and knowing that there's more room. You can grow more.
Yeah, and being honest with yourself because we're out there like peacocks showing our feathers and,
Yeah,
look how great I am.
yeah,
But sometimes you have to be like, you know what? This area I'm really having a hard time with.
yeah, yeah.
Parenting is hard,
Oh
and
boy.
there's no perfect parent and you can
Yeah,
only try to do better. And so these are areas where I'm like, wow, I feel challenged by that. But sometimes I hear things, this one quote that I love so much, it's OMMS, obstacles make me stronger. We don't want our life to be perfect all the time. The more obstacles we get and the more
yeah,
we jump over them,
yeah.
the stronger and the better we become.
Right.
So obstacles are a great thing.
Yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's the Viking Roman version of
Right.
that,
We
right?
should, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, Susie, I think we're going to leave it on the Vikings and Romans at that point. We'll pick it up next time. And I just thank you. This was a great conversation. And I'm looking forward to getting everybody's reaction out there in podcast world. If you haven't, the Unplug app is available on all platforms.
Mhm.
Get it, use it. It makes a lasting impact. So thank you, Susie. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Seth.
If you'd like to learn more about this speaker, visit our website at thekeynotecurators.com. There you'll find dozens of videos of speakers that are a perfect fit for your event. If you'd like to reach out directly, please click on the link below in the description. My name is Seth Deckman, and you've been watching Curated Insights.